How did we get from Mac Jones being the 15th pick in the draft to being now, it really feels like the heir apparent to Tom Brady?
Well, I would go back to the third overall pick of the draft, Greeny, because the 49ers, again, traded up with the idea that they were entirely comfortable taking Mac Jones at the number 3 spot. Now, ultimately, as they did their work, they came to the conclusion that Trey Lance's skill set was something that they couldn't pass on. But when they moved up there with the idea that they loved Mac Jones. So Mac Jones at one point clearly was in the conversation and good enough to go at number 3. New England sat right where it was, and Mac Jones slid right to their spot at number 15 without the Patriots having to give up anything. And from the moment Mac Jones arrived in New England, he impressed them. And the more people you spoke to, the more people who watched him practice this summer, the teams that observed him in scrimmages, they all came away with the conclusion, Mac Jones is a stud. And so it became apparent, if you've got that type of player, what do you then do with Cam Newton? And I think after the Patriots saw Mac Jones lead 8 drives this preseason and the Patriots score on all 8 drives this preseason, they decided that as popular and as respected as Cam Newton is, that it was probably better off not having his shadow loom over a young rookie quarterback like Mac Jones. They move on from Cam, they give the job to Mac, and here we go with Mac versus Tua in the regular season opener between the Patriots and Dolphins.
Bama versus Bama, of course. And Mel, let me come to you because you are synonymous with the draft. So we talked so much about Mac Jones leading up and the qualities that people saw in him. Are you surprised that he is starting week 1 for Bill?
Not surprised, Green. I brought up early last year the comparison to Tom Brady, and everybody kind of laughed at it and said I was exaggerating. And I said he's not going to be necessarily Tom Brady, but he resembled Tom Brady. A lot of similarities there. Think about the completion percentage in college, 77% for Mac Jones last year. 41 touchdown passes, only 4 picks. Wore number 10. Didn't have the great athletic ability, didn't beat you with his legs, but was accurate, was competitive, was incredibly intelligent, and he won games. And he played at Alabama. Tom played at Michigan. Tom, Mac, Brady, Jones, same amount of letters. A lot of similarities there. Brady, Bledsoe. Remember the Brady Bledsoe thing when Bledsoe hurt, hit by Mo Lewis? In steps Tom Brady, and they never look back. This is just a year earlier part than what it was a year earlier, but it's similar to what happened with Brady and Bledsoe. Now, instead of Cam Newton, real quick, we're going to Mac Jones. So the similarities are there. Bill Belichick and Josh McDaniels obviously saw them. Is he going to be Tom Brady? Probably not. But he's certainly right now showed mentally, we know he's ready in that capacity. His accuracy, obviously the drives he's finishing. He won the locker room. When you heard those offensive linemen, those veterans say right away, this guy could be special. And you guys know, you played the game. If you win that locker room early on, that tells you an awful lot about what kind of quarterback he's going to be.
All right, there's only one of us here who played the game, actually, and that would be Bart. And I listen to Bart and Hahn every single day on ESPN radio. And so I know, Bart Scott, that you are the skeptic in this conversation. Why?
Listen, just because it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck don't make it a duck. Listen, he can look like Tom Brady in the pocket. He can have the dad bod and everything that Tom Brady had, but it doesn't mean that he's going to be Tom Brady. But they don't need him to be Tom Brady, right? Because this is a user-friendly team right now that has great talent around Mac Jones. But when you talk about growth, and that's what you heard Bill Belichick say, the growth of Mac Jones, the growth is going to be stunted for a little while because the ceiling isn't that high for Mac Jones. When you get an Alabama player, you get a player that's pro-ready, but a player that's pretty much close to what he's going to be, right? Because he's going to get tremendous coaching. He's going to have tremendous football acumen. Listen, stop me when you tell me the last Alabama quarterback to come in this draft or come in this league and take the league by storm. Listen, I thought it was a mistake to get rid of Cam. Maybe Cam's shadow, to Adam's point, was just too big. The fact that Mac Jones had his worst practice when Cam Newton came back, and maybe you had to tell Mac Jones that this was his team, so you had to get rid of Cam Newton. But listen, in this league, defenses are going to break him down in about 5 games about the time he plays Tampa because they're going to see what he can do and what he can't do, and I think it's going to be a long season for Mac Jones. Can he get him to an AFC Championship? Yes, of course. Like, I took 2 rookie quarterbacks to the AFC Championship, but the problem is the field of young, talented quarterbacks in this league are far greater than the ones in which we went to and the ones that Tom Brady went to. When you think about Mahomes, you think about, at some point your quarterback's going to have to win you a game, not crash the car.
Go ahead, Schefter.
Bart, I may not know what I'm talking about, but I like to listen to people who do know what they're talking about. You heard Mel compare him to Brady, and not saying that he's going to be Tom Brady. But I go back again to the 49ers and when they traded up and how enamored they were with Mac Jones. I go back to the voices in my ear. One head coach last week telling me that they thought that Mac Jones could be a Pro Bowl quarterback for 10 years. And then I go to another voice on Mac Jones, another head coach, who told me that Mac Jones' floor is Kirk Cousins and his ceiling is Drew Brees. Now, those are good compliments. Those are strong comparisons. Those are meaningful words. And again, we'll see how it shakes out. There may not be a lot of Alabama quarterbacks that have had a lot of success. Well, at one point, there weren't a lot of Michigan quarterbacks that had a lot of success, and then Tom Brady came along. Now Mac Jones, with the way he works, has the chance to make the mark, and we're going to see. Either you're going to be right or all these NFL people are going to be right, but it's going to play out over time, and it starts to unfold a week from Sunday in Foxborough.
Sometimes, Bart Scott, and Mel as well, but Bart, let me throw this thought at you. Sometimes the situation into which a player is drafted winds up being one of the most important factors in how that player turns out. We've seen quarterbacks ruined by getting into the wrong situation. I don't know that you could be in a better situation than Mac Jones is in right now based upon many of the user-friendly factors you just talked about, Bart, and that feels like an important part of this.
No, absolutely. Listen, he's in a tremendous situation to start off his football career, to learn the game, to understand, to be surrounded. He doesn't have to do too much. This is a good football player. Usually good football players go high in the draft, which means they go to a bad football team. It just so happened that a good franchise where it's trying to recover from having a Hall of Fame, maybe potentially the greatest of all time type of quarterback, and now he's going to come into a great situation. But I'm telling you, I think it's a mistake for him to start this early in the season.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.